Now. Okay. Hey class, say hi, Grace.
Hi, Grace.
All right, see, the class really loves you. And Liam, too. I think they might somewhat care about you. All right, so, oh, this microphone's way too loud. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me talking. And so, all right, so we started talking about Gimp last time. If you do not have Gimp, you can download it for free on Windows, Mac, or Linux. When you first open up Gimp, you're going to have nothing. So you have to grab something. I mean, obviously you can import a picture, or you can just go ahead and grab a blank canvas, which is what I'm going to do right now. File open, and oh, not that way. I need a blank canvas. So file new, and instead of adjusting that, I'm just going to grab a blank piece here. So I'm clicking on templates, and 1024 by 768 is a template I'm going to grab and say OK, and there is my piece of paper. Keep your eyes right down here on the bottom of your screen here. It's going to tell you what your zoom percentage is. You're probably going to want to be zoomed into 100 or greater. I mean, control mouse wheel will let you zoom out and in, right? It's very nice to zoom in when you're doing very detailed work. You pretty much never want to be zoomed out like this, right? When you're drawing, right? Okay, so oops, back to 100%. I think I'm there. Last time we talked about the pencil and the paintbrush. Again, the paintbrush versus the pencil is going to be a lot smoother, as you can see right there. And we talked about changing colors. History is right here. And I'm going to start talking about new stuff today. Today we just barely talked about it last time. It's called coloring using gradients. And so color from gradient. So as you can see here, I'm just coloring in red, and I can change the color and color, say, in green. If you look right here, you're going to have some different tabs. Right underneath all of your tools right here, you're going to have some different tabs. Now, mine are spelled out. Sometimes it hides these words. You might not be able to see them. It will just have this little icon there. I think for the rest of you guys, that's what it looks like. Pretty much, you're really always going to want to be here in the tool options one. Once in a while, we're going to have to jump back to the layers if you're dealing with multiple layers in what you're working with, which is pretty common. So let me go ahead and click on tool options, and there's all the options that I have. Oops, let me hide that in. Okay, so if somebody hasn't already changed your setting, your brush should probably be at this fuzzy circle brush, and your dynamic should be on off. Now, the new version of Gimp, which is what I'm using, it remembers your previous settings. So if somebody's on your computer and have changed all these things, when you come back, they're going to be changed here. It remembers what you did last. The old version of Gimp, it would always reset to default every time you open up Gimp. So for better or for worse, that's what's going on. All right, so as you can see here with my paintbrush, I am drawing. Now, sometimes what happens, I don't know how, but I'm going to try to get rid of this bottom half. Sometimes people accidentally close this bottom half. I don't even know how to do it. I'm right-clicking. What's this? Close tab. Okay, let's close it. And this one too, very, very important one. Let's somehow close it. Oh no, see, so it's gone, right? And without that there, you really can't do a lot, right? You can't change it. You say, I want to change the size of my brush. Well, you still can with keyboard shortcuts. See, there's a keyboard shortcut for this. See, it's bigger now and smaller. It's actually open square bracket and close square bracket. Right next to the P, right? The P key, right? There's an opening and closing square bracket. That's the keyboard shortcut for changing the size of your brush. But, obviously it'd be nice to be able to do that right here. So if this happens to you, the easiest way to get it back is to double click on your paintbrush from here. See, I'm gonna double click it. And bam, I'm showing it loaded right here on my right hand side. Well, then you can always just, I don't know why it does that, but let's just go ahead and drag it over there. And see, it's back. And of course, if we want our layers, I can open up our layers. Let me see. How do I do that? Control L, I think. That's what I do. I'm just going to go ahead and Control L. There. Okay, I have my layers open. Okay, tool options where I want. All right, so now to talk about changing colors as you draw. Let me just change colors to red. See, normal red. What you need to do is change your dynamics. That affects what type of brush, what kind of, style you're applying to your brush. So you click on this little blue arrow thing right here where it says dynamics off. That's what's there by default. Now, if you click on here, there's some different options here. I'm going to show you guys a couple couple of them. Pressure opacity, that's if you have a stylus and a touchscreen, that's what you want. So in other words, if you do that, the harder you press, the darker it is, and the lighter you press, the more opaque it is. That's what you want for touchscreens. If you don't want anything, again, dynamics off. Okay, so we're going to take a look at color from gradient first. That one right there. And if I do that, by default, well, I've already done this, so let me change it back to the boring one. By default, what it's going to do is it's going to be on this right here, and this is going to be on none. So hang on, pretend you didn't see that. All right, by default, when you first open up Gimp and nobody's touched this, if you just go ahead and do color from gradient and say you're on red paint, this is what it's going to look like as I draw. I'm saying that's not exciting. It's just it was fading from red to white, and then it just stayed white. Well, what you're going to have to do is hit this plus sign on dynamic options, and the first thing you have to fix here is repeat. You want it to repeat this over and over again. Doesn't matter which one of these you use. Triangular is probably my favorite. Sawtooth is okay too. See, it's just going to go back and forth between that, and then sawtooth is triangular. Sorry, triangular is going to look like this. Right? So in other words, sawtooth is always going from red to white, red to white, red to white. This is going red, white, right? So that's what's going on. Now, this does look different depending on which brush you use. See, I have a fuzzy circle. That's the default brush right here, fuzzy circle. But it kind of looks really cool with a non-fuzzy circle. So I'm going to choose this one right here. And same thing, right? So, and the bigger you do it, see, look. Right? Doesn't that look a lot different from that one because this is not fuzzy at all? So depending on what you use, it's going to look different. Okay, well, Ms. Yang, that's still kind of boring, so we're going to change it up right here. If you click on this gradient here, gradient again means fading from one color to another color. If you change it, you can actually, by default, it's always going to change colors between your foreground and background color. See, watch. If I go ahead and click on this white one and change it to say green and say okay, see, look, now I have red and green there. Now if I drop, see, look, oh, look, see, it's going to fade back and forth between those two colors. That's what happens by default if nobody changes these settings. Well, you have some other options as well. So, see, some other options. Now you can see there's checkerboards in here. When you see checkerboards, it means transparency. So I recommend you don't use those because you're going to see nothing. For example, this one right here. If I choose this one, there's going to be a whole bunch of nothing followed by a little bit of changing colors. So here's what happens when you draw with that. You see? Looks like a bunch of caterpillars, right? That's what it is right there. That's not real. I mean, if you want to do that, you can, but you probably should just stick with one of them, the ones that have full color, like the rainbow ones, right? So now you do that. Looks like that. Change it to more like a pencil, and it's going to look more like that, right? Isn't that cool? Look at that. You're getting sleepy. Sleepy. Very sleepy. All right. So that's... now, you can obviously also change, not only that, you can also change opacity. Let's bring down our opacity. That's the opposite word of transparency, if you didn't know, right? So now if you draw, it's going to be... can you even tell that see-through? Oh, that you can barely tell. Let me bring it even less. There it goes. Okay, now you can definitely see through it. See? All right, so that's opacity there, so you can play around with that. Let's bring it back to normal. And of course the brush tip. Let's change that. Stars. Right? Sparks. Right? Sparks. That's pretty cool. Right? And of course you can change the size of your sparks or of your brush. Right? Peppers. Right? Bam. Right? Lots of peppers, and that's way too big. So let's bring down our size. See? Peppers, peppers, peppers. You can even do this little Gimp logo dude. His name is Wilbur, apparently. And it's really, really big. So let me... size 800 is default for him. But see? There he goes. And of course, if you turn off this color from gradient, you'll actually have the picture of the little Gimp logo as is. Also, the vine brush looks pretty cool when you're doing with rainbow brushes. Okay, so there's that. Let's see here. There is also, now that I've done that and filled that out, if you ever want to turn this off, the way that you turn it off is click on your dynamics and say dynamics off, right? See, now I'm back on regular vines, and obviously if you change it back to the fuzzy circle, you're drawing in red again, or whatever color you have up there, okay? Let's see, what else here? Now that you have seen that, let me minus out my dynamic options for a second here. There's a couple more tools I want to show you guys. There is, oh, there's that. Oh, okay, let's go through a couple of these. Airbrush is pretty cool. Airbrush, what that's going to do, and let me try to choose a color that I haven't used. Okay. It has transparency. See, look at my opacity. It's at 100%, so it's not transparent at all. But the way that the airbrush works is, the longer you stay in an area, the darker it gets. You see, so it's like spray paint, right? Kind of go over it, and the longer you stay somewhere, the darker it gets. So now you can't see behind it because I went over there. I drew over that so many times, right? So that's really nice if you want a really light touch. Ink tool, well, that's like a fountain pen. You can actually even see the logo right here. It's like a fountain pen tip, and yikes, it looks kind of funny. The slower you draw, the thicker it gets, because you know the ink is kind of pooling. And right now it's doing a diamond shape, which kind of looks funky. Do square or circle is a little bit more natural. Look how thick that's getting. Let me slow it down, right? Compared to at the beginning. So that gives you kind of a touch there. Most people don't play around too much with that one. What is this one? My paintbrush tool, my paintbrush. I've never seen this one. Is this one new? Did that blow you away like it did me? Okay. Ta-da! It's a regular brush. Okay, well, I'll figure that one out later. I've never seen that tool before, so that's new to me, unless they just change the icon. My paintbrush. Okay, forget that one. Control-C. Ignore that one. All right. There is also the blur tool and the smudge tool, real quick. Blur tool, what that's going to do is it's going to blur things. Now, this is kind of hard to appreciate, but if you need like a softer edge, here, let me zoom in right here. Obviously, you can see here I have some jagged lines right there. Click a few times. See, look how it faded that. See, look how it's fading that. So it's a really light touch. Most of the times when you use this, you won't even be able to tell almost anything's happening because you're zoomed out. All right? And if you're zoomed out, you won't really notice small little details like that. But if you're zoomed in and doing this, you'll definitely notice, oh yeah, that's like really blurring that line. Now that's actually what some people do on magazine covers, right? You know, like when they have a model and all pretty and her makeup's all perfect. That's one of the ways that you can do that, by blurring their cheeks so that it's more no blemishes. It hides blemishes a little bit better. So you can do that on your forehead or on your cheek or something like that. And, that will help. Okay, and then there is the smudge tool right here. And so what that does is it treats everything. Let me zoom out so you can see. It treats everything like wet paint. And so let me go back to a smaller brush and let me go on a solid shape. Why is that so big? Yikes. I thought I did a smaller brush. Okay, let me do this one. Why is that so big? Oh my goodness. Smudge tool. Brush. Size. Okay, well anyways, see, take a look. Let me zoom out a little bit more so you can see the whole canvas. Everything's wet paint. See? It's like you're taking a finger to wet paint, and there it is, there it is, there it is. Okay. So that's fun. There is also this tool right here, the gradient tool. Gradient tool right here. So when I choose that, what happens is when you click on this, look familiar? It's like that gradient from before. And so a lot of people actually get this confused with color from gradients on your paintbrush. Remember, you have to be on your paintbrush and choose the dynamics color from gradient for that other thing to work when you're changing colors. This right here, this picture of a gradient fading from gray to white, that will let you draw over stuff. Now, the problem with this is if I choose this rainbow one and you just start clicking and dragging in a certain direction. So, see, look, I can click and see it's drag, right? What's going on is it's just going to color over everything. This is great if you're starting with nothing and you want to draw on top of, say, something that looks like that. Well, then that's great. But if you already have your own photo on there and you do something like this, then it's not going to look very great. Control-C. Look here. There's different settings. Right now it's on square. Is it, remember the last thing I do? Usually it's on linear. Let's try that. Click and drag, let go. See? Zoom out. There it is. Click and drag again in a different direction. I said click and drag in a different direction. I don't know why it's not. Oh. Ah. Oh, cool. Okay. All right, new Gimp. You've got some pretty cool features. Before, if you clicked and dragged it in, it'll just replace the one that you had before. But now it lets you modify your existing one. Oh, pretty sweet. All right. Improvement is good. All right, now, Control Z. Oh, dang it, it's going to Control Z all over. You'll remember every single step. Now, obviously, you can do things besides linear shapes, square like I did before, and spiral. Like that. So pretty cool. Now, the only thing about this is, obviously, if you already have a photo, you're not going to want to do that. So, well, what's the alternative? The alternative is choose something with transparency in it. See, like this. These little lightsaber-looking things. See, now if I drag that, see, zoom out. See, you can get it so that it doesn't like cover over your drawing all the way, right? And obviously, you can draw squares and linear. So that is that as well. All right, the next portion of what I want to teach you guys is, let's see, I'm going to need a photo for. So just really quickly, I'm going to show you guys the basic of drawing tools. So hang on, I'm going to file open, and I'm going to go to one of my little kids here. Let's go to 6. Some pictures of some students here. Yeah, you guys remember? All right, so I'm going to use. I don't know. I might have your pictures somewhere. You guys remember when we did calendars? Remember that in 7th grade? Why you guys? Oh, yikes! You guys didn't have a good time. All right, it was just me. Okay. Anyways, so. I showed you guys this before, right? In 7th grade, if you remember from back then, right? So you can actually use a paintbrush, the eyedropper tool, which is this here, to do some basic photoshopping. Now, this works great if you want to grab a color. So, for example, you're like, you know what? Her shirt, I want to fill in jacket where her shirt should be, right? Well, then grab the color. See, I'm gonna grab this color right here, and voila, look right here, and grab that color right there, and then use your paintbrush and start drawing. See? And then it fills in. Well, Miss Yang, that's a pretty hack job, Miss Yang. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to recognize that you totally photoshopped that, Miss Yang. See? I can't tell, can you? Well, of course you can tell, right? So trust me, I'm going to teach you the good stuff later, right? I'm just teaching you guys the basics. This is really good for small fixes. So I am going to really quickly, so the way that you can use this is fixing the classic example, blemishes on the face, like a pimple. All right, so I'm going to give her a little pimple right there. That's too big. We need to shrink that pimple. It needs to be small. Bam. Okay, as you can see there, she has a pimple right there. Now, here's the thing. The easy, right, you know what I'm about to do, right? You're going to grab the color with the eyedropper, and then you're going to get the paintbrush, and you're going to paint over it. Easy. This is good for fixing small blemishes. The problem is that people's faces are not flat. They're round, and there's something here, you're 3D, right? And there's something called light. And so you need to be careful where you click on this. You just can't click anywhere. Even though her skin tone is probably pretty even throughout, I wouldn't want to just click here on her neck just randomly, right? Because that would be a different shade. You want to sample as close to the area that you are trying to fix. See? So I'm going to click right here on my eyedropper, and it's always darker than you think, right? Look at that, right? And I'm going to go ahead and get the paintbrush, and now paint that over. Okay, now let's zoom in and see if you can. Well, you can definitely tell once I zoom in. You can see that what's called an artifact. When you can see a shape, that's called an artifact. And so let me try to fix it up a little bit more. And obviously, it's not the best job. Maybe the blur tool might help. See, I'm changing over to the blur tool. I'm gonna try to fade it just a little bit more. Now, this is not even a hack. This is just basic stuff. Now let me zoom out. Oh, yikes! Yikes, that looks pretty bad. Wow, I did a pretty horrendous job. But anyways, yeah. Okay, that is a terrible job. Okay, but trust me, there are better jobs, and I'll show you that later. But I just want to show you guys the basics for now. And hang on, last thing, smudge tool works for giving people full hawk, right? So hey, I need my brush much bigger for this, right? This is always fun to do, right? You can give somebody a full hawk by continually dragging and pulling, and so. Bam. Okay. Right? Alright. Yeah. Alright. And obviously I can do some stuff over here too. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so that is just some of the basics on here. Ooh, one more basic, because I think I'm going to give you a file to try drawing on top of. One more basic I want to talk about is cropping. Cropping. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to, well, let me undo all that mess that I've just done. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to undo it. I'm going to just use her cropping. I'm going to crop her head and put her on the other head, right? And so the way that you do this, now, careful, this is a two-step process, or really three if you include it all. First, you have to select, guys, listen, select around where you want to get. Now, the dumb way of doing it is like this. There, Machine. That's a pretty good crop job, if I don't say so myself. No, that's a terrible job. I mean, you can still resize this, but still, that her face is not square, right? So that's not going to be good. Select none. Ellipse tool, Miss Jane. People's face aren't perfectly going to line up that way. That's still going to be a hack job. That's not going to look good at all, right? The way that you're supposed to do this, select none, is with this lasso tool, or Gimp calls it the free select tool. Photoshop calls it the lasso tool. It's a picture of a lasso. See, there it is, right? You grab that. Now, yes, you can try to freehand it, but that's going to be really, you're not going to be able to do a good job of that. And then you end where you start by clicking right here. See, then it's going to go ahead and select that region. That's not a good way of doing it either. Oops. Select. Dang it, how do I do this now? Shoot, that's right. The new version of Gimp does something different here. Shoot. How do I unselect that region? Click one time. I know. Rectangular tool. Ah, there it is. Click off of it. Okay, so here's how you're supposed to use the lasso tool. Click on it and connect the dots. And zoom in while you're doing it, because it's better if you do. See, click, 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 click. And the more clicks that you have, the better. Now, technically, I'm not even doing a good job. Technically, what you're supposed to do is, okay, let me zoom in real close. You tell me, what do you think? Where should I be clicking on? Outside of the line? On the line? Or inside of the line? What do you think is the best? Alright. The answer is inside is the best. The reason why, because, I mean, this is not a good example, but look, you can see the white wall behind her. You see that? If I click on the outside, you're gonna get that little white thing. And what if I'm trying to crop her and put her on a black background? You're gonna totally see that. If you even click right on the line itself, like right here, look, I'm like right on the line here. Do you notice that there's still some light white pixel that it's gonna make it through? So really what you're supposed to do if you want a good crop job is you want to stay right on the inside like this. Do you see what I'm doing there, yeah? I'm staying on the inside. I'm hugging the inside line. Well, you get the idea. I don't want to waste too much more time, so I'm going to fast forward real quick so you guys can hopefully get... And so I'm going to do a bad job now. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, now, once you're done with that, you have to do edit, copy. I think this will work. Let me just try it and then edit, paste, and then let's move this. Let me see, did it work? Oh, dang it, no, it did the wrong thing. It's doing the shifting. Oh, that's freaky, isn't it? Okay. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Oh, shoot. Oh no, Control Y. No. Okay. Wait. All right. Select, edit, copy, edit, paste. There it is. Okay. Ah, there it goes. All right, and then now I can obviously move that over to someone else. Okay. Now, obviously I can rotate it and do different things. Look at this one. I can click on this, it'll flip it. See? Bam. See? Flip it. And yes, I can change the proportions of it. Right? Ooh, yikes, right? And you can also rotate it. Click on it and drag the corner and rotate it around, right? And obviously you can also resize it. This one right here. You see all of these blue ones let you mess up here. There it goes. Okay, let's say I'm happy with that. I'm gonna say scale, and there it is. Now let me select off it. All right, and I'm just gonna now watch this, guys. Look at my mouse icon now. What it is it's a picture of an anchor, guys. Once you click on the background somewhere other than this region here, it's gonna permanently put it down. You won't be able to touch it again unless you Control Z to undo it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and click right here, and it's permanently anchored. Again, Control Z will undo that move, and I can go ahead and modify it some more. But once you click, it's anchored. All right, so there that is right there. All right, so I know we don't have a ton of time, but turn on your computers, and I'm gonna give you guys a picture to practice on if I can find it real quick. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording right here. Thank you for listening, Liam and Grace. Hope to see you guys on Friday. Yikes! Oh man! All right. For the record, that was Nate. He's a jerk.